welcome to the Sabr Print 2A show.
Hey guys, hopefully everybody's having a great day. I think I messed up the time again. I don't know if I don't know if there's something to like when I know when you're dyslexic, that's for reading. Is there something to like be time dyslexic? Or
Oh, heck yeah. Well, that's why in aviation everything is Greenwich Mean Time.
yeah, we need to work on that, man, for reals. All right, so we have the one, the only, the Arc Master Flying Rich in the house.
I don't know if I qualify as Arc Master.
What happened, man?
I don't know if I qualify as Arc Master. Yeah. Maybe it's because I've printed so many Arc parts.
Yeah.
But
At least
oh god.
At least you're like an arc expert or something.
Well, if I'm an expert, it's because I stand on the shoulder of giants.
Exactly.
Matt. So Invader Zip has been very helpful. He sent me the hardware kit for it. 22 Mods for All sent me all the AR parts at a
Yeah.
huge discount.
Oh, for real?
So yeah, it was a highly sponsored video or a build, I should say. I'm so ticked. I used. Do you have an Ender 3?
Yeah, I have an Ender 3.
So if you watch Chep's video, CHEP, he did a method where you can get like 2x the speed out of your Ender 3. So I printed one of these in 9 hours. Now, if you do it with the standard settings at a standard speed, it
Correct.
takes, damn, I did a screenshot. I think it's like a day and 9 hours. It's up there. I'm doing another print. So this is, let's see, I have 3, 4. I've got 4 lowers in the box here. So that's going to be my 6th lower I'm printing.
Okay.
And so unfortunately, I printed this one. And I'm grabbing the straight edge here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get my layer adhesion good, so you can see that front pin area is real bad, and whoop, right here.
Yeah, you could
It's unbelievably bad.
Let's
So
see.
really nice print, but oh, you want me to
No. How do I do you for
full
for you?
screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You click, but you can see how bad that is. That's unbelievably bad. Great print. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Horrific effing curl to it. So both at the pivot right. Whoop, sorry, doing this back. Pivot right here and at the front takedown pin, you can see severe curl. So I wish I had a bandsaw because the guy that does my gold plating,
Yeah.
he does Cerakote, and he's like, hey, send me some stuff to test out on Cerakote because I don't. This, I guess, is technically a firearm, and I don't know if I pour like epoxy in it in like in the fire control group area. Realistically, I wish I had a bandsaw because then I just cut it in half and send it to him because I want to do everything legit. And if you haven't seen it, I want to show you something cool.
Let me see it.
Hold on. So this, let's see, is it going to focus?
Oh, that's nice.
So this is kind of a combination. So AR Jeep Dave, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see his link. So he did the gold plating and the coloring, but
Correct.
22 Mods for All or Xavier Firearms on Instagram, they did the laser cutting on that. So and that's a JSD Patmos slide for the 365.
Ooh, JSD. Remember, guys, link in my bio, JSD Supply. Also, if you are in the Florida area and you go to gun shows, check out Rich because he shows up there sometimes, right, Rich? Let him know.
Yeah. So I'll be at the West Palm Beach Gun Show this weekend.
That's dope, man. Okay, so one of the reasons that Oh, wait. First, I need to ask you what did your wife say about the upper you got her?
Oh gosh, yeah, she's really liking it. She's like, so when do I get the sights? So I'm
Mm,
working on getting the sights, and I'm
check that out.
365. Yeah,
Could you read it or
yeah,
no?
the
You can.
365 tritium sights are kind of tough
Uh
to
huh.
get.
Okay. What did she tell you though? Your wife when she saw the upper, the
Well,
gold
all right.
plated.
So the first time I showed it to her, I didn't tell her it was hers. It's like, oh, what do you think of that, honey? Is that nice? She's like, wow, that is really pretty. She's like, then I finally told her, I'm like, well, that's yours. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, really? I didn't have it in my hands yet, but Dave posted on his Instagram,
Hey,
and
Alpha 3D is asking, what about the Miami Gun Show on the 23rd, I believe?
so okay, in there's different uh, promoters that do different gun shows. So the Miami Gun Show won't allow 80 percenters in their gun show.
Damn, we need to do something about that.
Well, what do you do? I mean, it's so Jordan Vinro
You know
did that.
what you
He got.
do? You buy the show. You buy the show.
I'm not Jordan Vinro,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
yeah, I'm some dude that look. I was out of work for 5 6 months, and I was like, hey, I called up Bob Putang Clan, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I got to do to become a dealer for you guys? And so we did. I'm like, all right, send me like 50 parts kits, and I'll sell them at gun shows. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea if I'd sell out in a day or sell out in a weekend, or it
Correct.
took me 5 weeks or five, was it 4 or 5 gun shows to sell all of my frames. I still have slides and other parts, and I'm not real sure. I may keep doing this. There's things that are profitable enough that if they sell, it's reasonable for me to sell, do it.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
But realistically, I've only broken even on what I've sold. That's the bad part. So people are buying more frames than complete kits. So like lower parts kits and slides weren't selling as much as frames.
Damn.
So I ordered Monday like 25 frame, basically like 20 G19 frames and like 5 G17 frames and a couple other things, like people put in some custom orders.
Yeah.
So if you do want something from me, and here's the scoop, um, I may be able to get it before the JSD website's updated.
Correct.
So JSD has the stuff. I get my stuff from JSD.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah. So it's
they
the same
have on
thing.
their website, I can get. But as a dealer, I may be able to get it before it's posted on their site.
Correct. So if you support Rich, you are supporting JSD. It's the same thing, but you're
Yeah.
actually helping two people, and you're helping out Rich, who Rich is an amazing guy. And the
Thank you.
reason I invited you to this show, Rich, is because the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing at the moment is because of you and because of John.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you, man, you're not watching my stuff, huh?
Well, I hate to say I've listened to your podcast, and I haven't rung
No,
the bell. Let me ring the
no.
bell.
I think probably I think where I spoke about that was on either my like the first podcast, which is 00, a Sunday rant. I believe it was on that one, where I said thank you to you guys, and
Oh, okay.
that if
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
missed that. I
for you
listened
guys.
to the 2 episode come
Yeah,
out and play one. That was the first podcast I listened to.
yeah. So on those ones, I actually said it, like thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you guys, especially for you reaching out and inviting me to the show, I would have not got the, I guess, podcasting bug, YouTube bug,
Oh, cool.
and I wouldn't have started doing this. I mean, I had already had plans on starting something, but you know how sometimes we all need a little
Oh,
push.
yeah, yeah. You need a little kick in that rump.
Yeah, and that was you guys. So
Oh,
I
good.
that's why I wanted to have you in the show too. I've told John thank you too, but I wanted to tell you thank you.
Oh,
I
thanks.
know you didn't catch the first episode of WTS We Talk Shit Show. Um, you were kind of a discussion in that show, but I invited you. I told people hopefully he's able to come. But
Yeah,
the
I
reason,
think I was out with my wife that evening.
yes, and we're gonna figure out why you were out with your wife.
Okay.
Came
So,
the bank said, the bar said, "You don't listen to my show, huh?" Nah, he does, but it was, I know which one it was. So
yeah.
the reason
So,
you were being spoken about so much, Rich, was because you tested the arc in a way that nobody, I think, has ever done a test. And I want you to explain how did you come up with, like, it was totally Rich, like it was totally you, man. And that's what I love about you, that you're you and you don't care. Explain to the
so
people how that went and what happened.
yeah, I'll give me a second. I want to get a prop, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, because I got a question for you too.
All right. So I originally.
Okay, there's a question for you first. From Kurt24.
Oh, hey,
He says
Kurt.
he says, Rich, I totally forgot. Do you have LPK for my order? If not, I'll order it direct from JSD.
I got the LPKs for everything.
Okay. So yeah, so I mean, there you go, Kurt. You heard it. Hit him up or whatever. And then I print shit is saying, "What's up with the rabbit in your front yard last week?"
Oh, there's always rabbits in my yard.
Okay.
It's crazy the amount of rabbits around.
Do you shoot them or nah?
No, no, I haven't. You know, you can starve to death eating rabbit meat.
What? Rabbit meat is
Yeah.
good, bro. You never
No, no,
had that?
no. But there's not enough, fat. Rabbit meat is too
Oh,
lean.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
So you can actually starve to death eating rabbit meat.
Oh, damn. Oh, okay, okay, okay. He said robot. I don't know. Oh, he was being funny, I guess.
Oh, robot? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I All right, so let me
All right, let's
refresh
go.
your page here
You're
because I
stuck.
don't see the video.
I mean, we could hear you and we could see you.
No,
So,
no, but I don't see like the YouTube so I can see the comments.
oh, you're not watching it?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see.
I'm on it's a bar prints. I mean, it's your logo. You got 46 videos. I'm sorry, 46 subs,
Yeah,
right? I'm
yeah,
on the right.
yeah. Why you
Sometimes it
think?
doesn't come up immediately. Let me click home.
Let's see. Check it out.
Yeah, I don't see the live video. Anyhow, other people are seeing it. I just
Yeah.
wanted to see it for the comments. So anyhow, so the test rig that I have is from the so this is like my Rev 2, and this isn't a good print, so I'm
Oh
just
shit!
using
They're
a
talking about the robot bomb. Remember the robot bomb?
oh, yeah, yeah. So I live on a dirt road, and I actually have a corner lot, and there's a flag lot. There's actually two properties behind me,
Yeah.
and the uh apparently my neighbor across the street saw some kids lighting off some fireworks. Apparently they had an M80 with a CO2 cartridge,
Correct.
and the sheriff was shooting at it with an air gun and apparently missed. And then they
Mhm.
came by with a robot, like a stupid claw machine type. I kept joking he's putting quarters in it, and the he couldn't pick it up. And I think they finally walked over there because I was trying to get, like, I've got a spotting scope, a tripod, and a mount that I could put my phone on to do the
Yeah.
live video. And by the time I walked out there, I see them picking something up and walking away with it. So
Oh damn.
so that was that whole story. I tried to make a little YouTube drama over that, but
Oh, okay, crazy. All right, so let them know what you were gonna let them know. Sorry about that. I
so
guess they
oh,
were only
actually,
seeing you.
so this is Control Pew's Bullpup Glock 34. I
Yeah.
would show you the actual product, but
Mhm.
YouTube. This is my second remix of the design. I know he kind of went another direction, and so this is my remix of it. And
Correct.
actually, what I did is I printed a negative clamshell of the forward grip, and then this would screw into the 2x4 that I have laying across folding table.
Yeah.
So I have the folding table out in my yard, and in Florida, if you have more than an acre of property and the rounds don't leave your property, you can shoot on your property. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't have a backstop, so I can't target practice yet, but
Yeah.
I can shoot into the ground.
Mm.
So that's safe. So the
Smart man.
original thing that I did was like this would screw into the 2x4, this would clamshell and hold the grip, and it would allow the G34 bullpup, control Pew's design, to shoot the ground. And I used basically like a painter's pole with just some nylon loop on it that I would tie through the trigger, and I would just twist the pole until it got tightened around the trigger grip and the trigger,
Yeah.
and that would fire it. So Friday after work, it's 5:30. I wanted to go live on YouTube, and for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to work. So I just went live on Instagram. And I was Instagramming it, and John Hollinger, who's a long-time follower of mine, so I originated doing tech podcasts. I still do one fairly regularly and one other tech podcast not so regularly.
Yeah.
And so John's been following me for a boatload of years. And actually, John's been to my house here. So John's from Indiana.
Okay.
And he was in the neighborhood, so he came and stopped by. But John's like, hey, shoot it live on Instagram and I'll send you $100. I'm like, I'll shoot it live. That's cool. You don't have to do that,
Yeah.
And sure enough, he PayPal'd me $100. So I actually got 2 dinners out of that.
But I'm
With
surprised that Instagram let you do it, because I recorded the screen, because when I saw you doing that, I'm like, man, I need to record this and post it, repost it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm
yeah,
surprised you're letting them, like, because you actually did it. It shot, right?
yep.
That
Yeah,
that's
I don't know if it didn't look like an AR-15 or didn't look like a Glock, so it didn't trigger anything. Don't
maybe
know.
because you were not holding it, and you didn't have it in your hands. So now we
Right. Well,
figured
I
out a
did
way
actually.
to.
I later in the stream I shot it
Yeah,
holding it.
damn.
So yeah, at first no, but yeah. So I'm like, hey, how am I gonna? Oh, I left the arc in another room so I wouldn't touch it. But how am I going to shoot the arc on my setup? And I'm like, well, it's got the stupid triangle brace, and I'm just going to tie a loop around that and hang it from the 2x4. And then
All
the
right.
problem was I was twisting right to tight. I guess being a mechanic, that's what you do. And it was aiming more towards the table, so I twisted left, so it pointed away. I didn't want to shoot out my
Yeah.
table leg or anything, or have a ricochet of anything like that. So I'm a madman, huh?
Yeah.
So
Oh, now you can see them.
what's that?
They're finally popping up.
Well, I see it on
Yeah, on
the
the reflection.
the StreamYard. So
Yeah.
so it worked, but I could see that since I did the CHEP high speed print, and I was kind of arguing with P80 Ralph. No, I don't want to say arguing, we were lively debating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ralph's telling me that crap won't work, fit in the appropriate Ralph word there.
Yeah.
And he was probably right, and right for a couple of different reasons. So a lot of the arc can be printed using the high-speed methodology because a lot of the arc is under compression. I think Matt Invader Zip is really brilliant in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Because not only is he a great artist, but he came up with a design that leveraged or overcame a lot of the problems with printing in PLA or FDM in general, because he put rods through it. So FDM printing is not strong in tension, but it's very strong in compression. You know, kind of like concrete. Concrete isn't flexible. That's why you put steel rods in concrete, and Matt put steel rods in the arc. So there's a rod that goes along the top. I wish I could hold up an arc and show you.
You think we'll get in trouble?
Yeah. Well, you can't hold a pew live on YouTube.
Tie it to something. So you got that pole. Tie it to the pole and then hold the pole.
I mean, if I threw it on the floor and then picked up my camera and showed it on the floor, I guess that would be legit.
Yeah, do that. Let's do that.
All right, give me a second. I left it in another room.
All right, go for it.
So I'll be right back.
Okay, if somebody could comment and let me know if you guys could actually see the comments on YouTube.
Doggy dog.
I'm gonna leave that till he comes back. See if he could see it.
So I'm gonna have to here, and let's see. Can I flip the camera? I can't flip the camera. All right. So volume, we're up. All right. So let's see. That's the arc. And so since we got the Invader Zip thin brace, which I think is just cool AF looking, and I hung it from the brace. Now there's a rod that goes all the way through the top, just under the whole length of the pick rail. So all of the PLA is under compression. There's a little, so the top here is under compression. The bottom rod up is like right here, starts at the takedown pin and goes forward. And then there's another rod in the back here. So it started splitting at the top of the buffer tube. So there's the top rod ends like right here. So this part is not under compression, but this part is.
Correct.
So that's where it started splitting.
Yeah.
And so I did two things. So after talking to Ralph schooled me. That's P80 Ralph. And hold on, let me plug you back in, get my audio set up.
Go ahead.
See, where's that other wire? I got to get the earbuds in. Earbud in first. Okay, so I printed using standard setting, which I don't know if it was like 9 hours to print the buffer tube or however many hours. And Ralph is like, hey, if it's a standard AR buffer setup, and I told him I wanted an AR9, I think they just sent me a regular AR15 buffer setup.
Yeah.
He's like, you could put in 4 quarters in the back. So
hey,
I just, yeah.
I think you're in the wrong YouTube. The YouTube is the Sabr Prints 2A. So it's all together. Sabr Prints.
Oh, okay.
2A. Yeah, so I think that's why you can't see the stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And
so this
I'm
one's
subbing, ringing the bell.
Yeah.
And there I am live. Yes, I see it now.
You see?
Okay. So Ralph is like, hey, throw 4 quarters in the back. And I'm like, because I'm cheap, I printed this. And I used the CHEP high-speed method, and he yelled at me for doing that. I'm like, look, it's under compression. It's not going to matter. You know, if it's under tension, then print slow. So I probably, and I was talking to Matt Invader Zip about it, that, hey, man, you really need like a web app. And hey, IPS, how's it going, man? I'm like, you need a web app because there's so many choices and combinations of what you can do with the ARC. So if you've looked at the ARC, if you go to Odyssey and look at Invader Zip's build video and it looks complicated, I probably watched it, I don't know how many times, at least 5 times. You know, let it run a couple of times so I got really familiar with it. And then I knew what I wanted to do and how I wanted mine to look. So yeah, to solve the buffer tube splitting issue, I fired like 10 rounds through it this afternoon. I threw one of these in, so basically that's the equivalent of 4/4, and I slow printed the buffer tube, so no crack in 10 rounds. So not a great test, and I, shot it, but I didn't shoot it like in bore with my face. I shot it, with my body not in line with the parts that go back and forth.
Yeah, at least there
So
was like no organs that could be harmed, right?
yeah, no
No
pink
important
parts were
organs.
damaged. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's uh let's let's go back and let's talk about the way that you're printing stuff. So you think that the reason that the buffer wasn't holding in the beginning was because you were doing that Ender 3 hack, the one where you super print, or no?
Mm, it didn't make it stronger. Let's put it there. So I think there's at least two problems. An AR-15 requires a certain buffer and a certain buffer spring. And does everybody? I don't have a buffer and a spring handy, but the buffer, like if you know what an AR-15 bolt looks like, the buffer
Yeah.
sits behind it, and there's a little bit of a weight. There's usually like maybe some nylon on the end of it, and the spring has a certain strength. Now, in an AR-15 bolt, cams and locks up into the bolt. So, so when an AR-15 round fires, it fires, and then once the round passes the gas port, it then rotates, unlocks, and moves back. So an AR-15 bolt is moving back with less energy than an AR-9 bolt, because the AR-9 bolt is blowback only, meaning it's only the spring holding it up against the breech face. So the AR-9 buffer weight should be heavier. I think an AR-15 bolt is like AR-15 buffer is like 2.5 ounces, and an AR-9 buffer is like 8.5 ounces, if I remember correctly. Look it up. Don't trust me on that.
All right.
So I'm still using the same buffer. I threw this in and I printed it, slower. So I think if I probably had the right buffer, it would likely work at the high speed.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I don't know if I can show it to you here. So yeah, this is the one. Let's see. You can see this has a sheen to it, where this is matte. So this is the one that was high speed printed, the one on top.
Yeah, you can
and
tell.
The one on the bottom was slow printed. So there's a visible difference on this. I'm guessing that they're a lot stronger. And again, you can see dull and the sheen. So this again was the slow print. So I think there's definitely something different printing slow. Hey, Jordan, JSD Supply, how's it going, man?
Yeah.
And just props out to JSD. I meant to say, like, I had a customer with an issue, and his team took care of it. I'm very happy. I meant to tell Jordan that on the last show, because he was on John Crump Live today. So props to his team. Good people. And Jordan sponsored my G34 bullpup build, so that why am I blanking? Control Pew, Alex's design. So JSD supported that, and I just want to say thanks for the support on that project.
JSD is the sponsor of Sabr Prince 28 Show podcast. So
cool.
There you guys go. Link in the bio, and we still have the code CRUMP for what is it? $10 off?
I think it's 10% off and free shipping.
I think it's $10 off because I used that
$10
code
off and free shipping.
Yeah,
that's a deal.
That is a deal.
I don't know what's going on. I ordered stuff from them Monday. I don't know if there's any price increases. I know between the first time I bought and the next time I bought, there were some price increases. there was a time when people were getting stuff cheaper using codes like Code Dark or Code Crump than I could get them.
Yeah. Yeah, there was time I was getting a lot of those 26s, the cobalt. Yeah,
Uh
that
huh.
color. I liked them a lot, and then all of a sudden when Crump I think got the last one. So then I got the green I posted. Did you see the one I posted? I think yesterday, the green with the upper with the 19 upper. That's all JSD too.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I begged Bob, and Bob sent me a G19 titanium blue. It looks so much better in the light as opposed to in the studio. But yeah, so that part of so when I 3D print, another part of the testing is when it comes off the bed. Of course, you don't want to do it hot, but like once it's reasonably cool, I grab the print and I twist it, because
Yeah.
if there's any reason you had a clog, or a thin layer for some reason that didn't bond well, you want it to break before you're shooting it. So I always grab it and do a twist test. That's like the first thing I do.
Correct, man. Okay, so
And
let's.
so do you print rails up or rails down?
Okay, so here it goes. I'm gonna be honest. I started rails up, but I like rails down. So I mean, in
Oh
the
yeah.
beginning, yeah. I mean, if you're doing stuff in the beginning and you don't really have your settings, tuned in perfectly. I mean, rails up is easier. But okay, so I don't know if you saw that I printed this lower that I have. What was it? The low point. So I printed that twice. I printed it one time rails up, but there was an issue with it. So then I printed it rails down, and that time I didn't take care of the settings correctly, and it warped. And then I printed it
Mm-hmm.
again, and it's flawless, man. So it's just the settings, I guess. And then I mean, I don't really have issues with my Ender 3. I have the V2. I have two of them. The only time I
Uh-huh.
really do get issues is when I push them to the limit, but they're workhorses, man. Those Ender 3s V2s, they're workhorses. Especially if you leave them stock and just change certain parts, they run good. But when you try to like go all out and change a bunch of stuff, I think that's when they kind of start giving you problems.
So I have two Ender 3s. I swapped out for a silent motherboard in one. I've got a silent motherboard to go into the second one. All I've done is magnetic beds and the Capricorn tube.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's all you've done.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I did too. I have a what is it, the PEI beds or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and then the tube and the head also, and the springs. I got the what are they called? They're not springs. They're silicon, I think, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
No, no.
So instead of springs, it's like bushings. They're like
Oh,
bushings
okay.
instead of springs, and they
That
work
makes
great.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I found is you don't lose level if like the one I still have the stock bed with the clips, the binder clips. And what
Hmm.
I do is I pull the sheet off and then flex the sheet, get the part off, and then clip it back on. If you're not messing around with the bed, you don't lose level for the most part.
Yeah, you don't really touch it that much. Correct.
And same thing with the magnetic bed. So I'll just peel the magnetic bed off and then peel the part away and put the magnetic bed down.
I don't like those glass beds that the Ender 3V came out with. Um, you know what I did with one? I turned it the other way. Let me see. Oh yeah, you're a big fan of Octoprint. I tried running Octoprint and I ran into problems. So next time I'm either gonna hit you up or I print shit because I think he
Oh
also has.
yeah, IPS does Octoprint.
Yeah, he's the homie right there. What do you think about the Glocknoski? Let's talk about that right now since
That's cool.
we're
That's
here.
cool. I don't know if I ticked IPS off because he wanted me in on that. I mean I do have the parts. I'm like, all right, now I'm interested.
But check this
I
out.
got slides.
Don't worry, because you know what we have coming up. We have a double barrel Glavnovsky Harlot. So for the people that can't afford the actual Glock, we got the Harlot version that is gonna be a double Harlot.
Cool, cool.
So you could print that
So
one.
I've got all the parts.
There you go. Try it.
No, I don't have to do like Ralph 19140.
No, no, do the same. And then you know that Danny Meatballs, he gave him the drum, so there's a
That's
double
so
drum.
cool.
That thing
Yeah,
is I,
that's like the ultimate FU 3D printed gun. I love it.
so what are you trying to print next? What do you think? What are you gonna print next after you're done with the Curse of the Ark?
So, yeah, actually, it's like I was looking back through my Instagram feed. I had two printers running, printing the Arc, and at the same time or overnight, I was printing something like, I don't know if it was the buffer tube or whatever, and something that's tall because it's moving back and forth. You want to do either a brim or a raft, depending. And I guess I didn't do either, and it knocked over.
Yeah,
And the other printer was printing something else, and I think I had a plate with a number of items on it.
correct.
So it was going to be a multi-day print, but I was doing a number of items. So the short items worked, and for whatever reason, the bed went wobbly. I had to tighten up the. So you know how it's got a cam on the wheels on the bed, so it rides in the rail.
Yeah.
So the screw that holds that eccentric loosened up. I was like,
Mhm.
what the heck? So when I get up the next morning, I see spaghetti all over. I'm like,
Yeah, I hate that.
and then I start pulling things off the bed, and the bed's going like, I'm like, what the heck?
Mm.
It was probably had an inch of travel up and down. I'm like,
You know what I realized? That you're supposed to, at least, depending on how much you print, but what I learned the hard way is that you should at least do a full tune up, like tighten your everything once a month at least. You
probably,
know?
yeah, some blue Loctite would probably be a good thing also.
No, the red one. Make sure you guys use the red
Red,
one.
red, yeah, I don't know.
That's the permanent.
Nylock, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, uh, my next print is going to be another one of these. I still haven't conquered the G34.
Yeah.
There's another project I don't want to say consulted because it makes it sound like I've had too much to do with it.
Hmm.
I've had some input, let me say that. Uh, there's another project I've had some input on that is probably going to be coming out to you just geographically because I'm not there. I'm probably not going to have a whole lot to do with it, but Dark and Crump and some other more popular YouTubers will have something to do with it.
Are
So
you
that's
talking?
going to be what?
Are you talking about what you guys were talking about earlier? The from JSD.
Well, actually, no, that's something else. So,
Okay. Okay.
JSD, the binary trigger.
Yeah.
So when he comes out with the binary trigger, I'll have to print a new one of these. So it has only had a binary trigger in it because Florida law says you cannot enhance a trigger. So
So
the gunshine state has all of these bad laws.
I mean, at least it's not California. So come on, man.
Right, right. So, yeah, I've got a couple of projects in mind, but I don't know if I can talk about. But so yeah, the next print that I'm scheduling in is going to be one of these guys because this print didn't come out good for reasons. So I want to my Gen 2 or Rev 2 of the G34 Bullpup. So I want to get that out. It stiffens up, so this area is fatter here.
Yeah.
And so I think because it was stovepiping on a pretty regular basis, I would get 3 or 4 shots. So we got all sorts of different people with all
What is
sorts
this
of
thing right
different
here?
opinions. What's that?
No, so no competition triggers upgrades in Florida.
So, okay, good question. Uh, there's a lot of problems with laws. Usually, people that write them don't know what the hell they're talking about,
Hmm.
and then there's the application of the law. So you have the law as it's written, and then how does it get interpreted, and implemented? So
Yeah.
the post Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting, I think 30 days later, they had a law, which of course somebody else wrote. Probably a Bloomberg group wrote it,
Right.
and it like went crazy through the Florida legislature. And my wife grabbed Rick Roth for about 45 minutes and talked his ear off on why it was a bad move. And my wife, I think, texts Rick Roth every day or calls him and gives him an earful. My wife is like as activist as they come.
That's
So
dope.
she is on fire with this stuff. So
For your wife.
yep. Florida is such a effed up gunshine state because we have stupid regulations. Like we don't have open carry. So DeSantis is apparently going to be he last I knew, and I would have to follow up on this to verify it, that there's going to be a special legislative session called back, and they're going to cover a couple of things, and we hope that they're going to cover and take a vote on open carry, open/constitutional carry in Florida. So I'm all for carry, period,
Yeah.
and absolutely for constitutional carry. So hopefully the gunshine state will get constitutional carry in the next couple of weeks.
So
It's yeah, go.
so if you had one law that you would want to see change in Florida that has to do with guns, what would it be, Rich?
Well, I think constitutional carry is the big gorilla in the room. That Marjorie Stoneman law really needs to go. I forget if it's like 100 and change pages or how many pages it was. Realistically, that hasn't helped anyone, hasn't done anything to make anybody secure. That really needs to go. It realistically only infringes. Look at the New York City subway. Only
Yeah, but
law-abiding
let's not even let's,
citizens.
let's not even talk about that because that guy. I think he was from New Mexico, and I don't know if you heard, but they had like this sleeper thing they had broken down in New Mexico. I don't know, man. It's just that I feel bad for
Well,
the people that got hurt, but isn't it a coincidence that it happened so close to what had just happened on Monday? Like it happened the same day, right? Or something like
uh,
that.
was it yesterday? It happened. It happened Tuesday. So
Yeah,
Monday, Biden was out there saying "Ghost guns," and Tuesday this happens. So I just the short of it, any gun law. First off, all gun laws are racist because they were designed to keep guns out of the hands of the newly freed slaves. So that's the racist origin of gun laws, but nobody ever talks about that. That's not good to do. Everything else is racist. Gun laws, nobody talks about. Um, the other problem is that only law-abiding people follow the law, hence law-abiding people.
yeah,
The problem with that is was mid December. We all went to the Oaks, Pennsylvania gun show that Jordan announced that he bought the Eagle Arms gun shows,
hmm,
and I had a couple of firearms with me. I had the Glock 34 Bullpup with me, and I was going to go to New York. I have a property in New York that I'm trying to sell, and I was just going to go check in on it for a couple of days and then come back to Florida.
correct.
And I'm like, it's illegal for me. So if I drove through Long Island to the Orient Point and took the ferry over to Connecticut and went to New Hampshire, that would be legal. Maybe if I stopped overnight and continued traveling the next day, that would be legal. I'm not sure. But if I went to Long Island, went to Islip, Long Island,
Hmm.
stayed there 2 days and turned around and went back, that's illegal. I couldn't have my guns with me. I'm like, what's the chance of me getting pulled over, searched? And I'm like, but what's the risk? And I'm like,
Exactly.
the risk is I'm a felon and I lose my rights for life. I'm like, I'm like, all right, Dark, take my guns. I'll drive a couple hours out of my way and pick them up from you on my way back.
That was smart,
You
man.
know, and so what I'm trying to say is only law-abiding citizens follow the law. Criminals will take their G17 from wherever and go to New York and shoot up people on the subway.
Thanks.
You know, that's so it's somebody like you or me that are going to be concerned about the ghost gun regulations or whatever laws, and we are going to do our damnedest to comply with them.
Okay,
But
so before, because we got like, I think, what, 20 minutes, I think, I believe, something like that, right? Like I said, I'm also dyslexic with numbers. Um,
13 minutes.
yeah, there we go. You see, um, talk about how do you feel, especially since you're doing right now what you're doing with the polymer 80s. What's your take on this? Do you think they're just doing it to try and confuse people and actually scare them more away? I mean, because that's what this administration is good at, just scaring people.
So, 2A EDU was in our chat earlier on John Crump Live. He says, I know people that are selling their AR-15s now. And I'm like, basically, it said nothing about AR-15s.
Well, somebody in the, I think in the comments was, I think they were trying to sell like AR-15 kits or something like that. Remember? Didn't you read
All
that?
right, so an 80% AR-15, according to this new rule, is still legal to sell. This is still legal to sell. This is
Mhm.
not a firearm, and anybody can sell it. A polymer 80 with drill bits and the jig is not legal to sell. That's a firearm. It's conjecture right now. Jordan and I were just talking about this. If I sell this, it may be legal according to the new law. But if I sell it with this and the drill bits, no, it's a gun.
So that's why he was saying to keep the jigs, even though we're not supposed to like reuse them.
Hey,
I
if
have
you
a
don't
bunch of
ball
them,
it
and
up,
I was about to throw them away. Honestly, like a couple of days ago, I'm looking at my stuff, and I'm like, "What am I doing with all this stuff?" You know, like. But
yeah,
now,
I think I threw one away already. Like I
Mhm.
got more. I'm not worried
all
about it.
right,
But
all right, so we have a question from Come Out in PLA. He's wondering, how do you feel that the 3D printing gun community has accepted you?
um, that's a good question because I don't deal with groups. I talk to you, I talk to Cron, I talk to Control Pew or Mr. Snow or P80 Ralph. I don't
I can't believe you
know.
mentioned my name with those names, bro. Like that don't make sense.
Well, in
But I
that's
know
what I'm getting at is I deal with individuals. I don't deal with groups. I don't know AWC, our cool yet group, and I'll very likely never be a member of Are We Cool Yet. That's so
bro, your team
I'm not.
uncool. You don't need your team uncool. But that's like the coolest team to be part of. Oh, P80 Ralph is here, bro.
Ralph, what up? So yeah, it's like I've got Mr. Snow's phone number. I got P80 Ralph's phone number. I got Invader Zip's phone number. If I have a question or whatever, I call them up or email them or whatever. The whole group. Maybe I'm not involved in an alpha or a beta. So
Yeah.
I realistically, I don't know how I've been accepted by a group. But who do I find out that from?
Okay, look, we got a question now. So, Trophy Trout saying, why not?
Well,
Come join.
all right. So
You're in
why wouldn't
Florida,
I?
man.
why wouldn't I be a member of Are We Cool Yet? And it really doesn't have anything to do with not liking Group A or Group B or any of that. It really doesn't. What it has to do with the amount of bandwidth I have available. And
Oh, okay.
if I'm muck, first off, I'm not a good designer. Let's get that out there. I use Tinkercad, so you can all flame me. I'll throw on the asbestos suit. I use Tinkercad. I'm awful at 3D designing.
You
Can
use
I
Tinker?
figure out what's that?
You use Tinkercad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to up my, I need to do Fusion 360 or something else. I need to get
Oh,
away from Tinkercad. Um, Even if I was killer at some other CAD, Tinkercad game, I would still not look to join another group. And the reason is I don't think I could contribute to the group on a regular basis.
I
I
get you.
might be able to, like the ARC or like the G34. And even this, I've been on this for over a year. The whole G34 bullpup.
Yeah.
And I haven't been tooled up and ready to go on that stuff.
I
So
mean,
if somebody said to me, and that was kind of the reason IPS wanted me to get into the Glocknovsky, and I'm like, I don't know how much time I can put into it. It's cool. I got the parts. I'd like to do it. But if you want me to be a member of an alpha or a beta team and you're looking for feedback, I'm not sure if I'm your man. If you want somebody like to do it and promote it, yeah, I can do it and promote it, but I might not be on your time schedule.
correct.
In let's see. So I'm not looking to tick off anyone, and I'm sorry if it sounded like I name dropped. I really don't want to be that way. I just getting the truth out. I talk to the different individuals in different groups. Like I know Vin, I know Alex Control Q, I know Mr. Snow, and I if my life was a big different, yeah, maybe I would join a group. Like if I wasn't working a day job and I hate to make it sound like I'm a mad YouTuber, but all of the crap I got going on in my life, other than my day job, look, I actually didn't work for 5 or 6 months and I was still busy AF all the time.
Exactly.
So, uh, well, Ralph, your name was one of the names I dropped then. So, I don't mean to name drop as I continue to name
No,
drop.
I know what you're saying. I know what you mean. You're pretty much just saying that at this moment in your life you're going through a lot of stuff that a lot of people might not know what you're going through. I mean, I think we are all going through certain situations,
Yeah,
and I think right now it's not the right moment for you to take on so much when like you said, you were unemployed. You have to figure out what you're doing next.
yeah, oh
Um,
yeah.
so I mean, we love joking with you
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Look,
During the day.
everybody's been cool. I've been, I've had a good experience. So let's talk the other way. Anybody I've dealt with in the 3D printing, the two-way 3D print community has been fantastic.
Correct.
Except Chairman One. No, I'm teasing.
Bro, no.
No, no. I think I met Chairman One. He got up and walked away. I was like,
I don't know. No, but
so
like,
no, everybody's been crazy cool to me, so I really appreciate it. And I was like flattered when IPS he's like, hey man, do you want to print the Glocknovsky? And
yeah,
I'm like, I think so. And I mean I haven't had a conversation with him, so I really didn't get that out. Like, yeah, it's kind of like the next shiny object. It's like, yes, one of those, and one of those. Yes, I want to do them all. Next question is, how good can I do them all? I'm like, yeah,
yeah. That's
you know,
the
I
I think that's the issue. With certain prints, like that's why when I was seeing everybody do the arc, like I wanted to do the arc.
Oh
And then
yeah, yeah. The arc is cool AF. I mean, that's
when
like
everybody told me about all this different stuff, now it's like I know myself, and I'm a type of person that I'll if I do something and I can't get it right, I'm gonna sit here for hours until I figure it out,
so.
and I'm gonna keep
This
coming
part
back
here's
to it, and it's
another one
not good
that
for me.
it didn't print perfect, so it curled. I got this god awful gap here. In If I'm right, I mean I could be wrong, but he had a PDF layout. Matt did a PDF layout of the prints, and he had it like this, and I printed it like that, and then this freaking curled. He's like, print it this way. I'm like, oh. He's like, print it this way with no supports, it'll work. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I think and Ralph says, fire it with your hands. I put 10 rounds through today with my hands. All right, Ralph. Rich moving all the pots and pans. No, it's all the stupid 3D printed parts I got here. So yeah, and I'm real sure that it said the upper receiver to print horizontal, and then Matt tells me no, print it like I'm like, okay, I print it that way. So because the first one I did when I put the barrel assembly in, I split. You can see the split right here.
Yeah.
So it split. I'm like, all right, print another one. It didn't assemble right. So yeah, I've got 3 of these printed because 2 curled because I printed them down instead of like that. So the arc is an interesting build. I got to give Matt crazy credit, Invader Zip. He did, I just think, a brilliant freaking job out of the box thinking on it. I really think it needs, I talked to him about this the other day, is a web app that you can click the pieces and it puts it together. So you say, hey, I'm going to do a 10-inch barrel, and it shows you how long the barrel is. And it's like you could say 8-inch handguard, 10-inch handguard, and you can see what handguards. That there's a like a UI configurator for it.
I was thinking of something.
And then it tells you, hey, print this way, print this way. Or it does like sample bed layouts for you and tells you like, hey, you put all these parts on one bed and they print this way. Just to get the alignment right on how you're going to print them.
All right, man. Well, it's getting close to quit time. Like I said, man, I wanted to have you in this show because I know you haven't heard that episode where I shouted you out, because I know if you would have heard it, you would have said something. But like I said, I had to put that episode up because you know how sometimes they're weird if you don't have any shows. When I was like sending my podcast to all the stream services, so you at least have to have in order for them to accept it. You know what I mean?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. Shout out your stuff. I know I put everything
Sure.
on underneath, so hopefully it's right. And if it's not,
Okay. So if anybody needs anything P80, and that's basically anything JST sells, orders at flyingrich.com is the email. Hit me up. Some things I can do a good deal on, and some things I may be able to get you that aren't listed on the website yet, but are available to the dealers. And I'm hoping, I haven't talked to Jordan, but I should be able to get the binary trigger when it comes out also. So, yeah, I don't know if you can get that though.
yeah, I know I knew you're gonna. I think I'm gonna have to go and move to Texas for a while and have it shipped in Texas, and then I'll figure something out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, and youtube.com/flyingrich. My flyingrich.com website is mostly broken, but my links are there, and there's a contact, the envelope to get me a message.
All right, cool. And also, if you guys don't know, tomorrow I have another show, and tomorrow I'm gonna drop the podcast. So you know how I drop the podcast Mondays?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this podcast is dropping tomorrow, and this podcast is with Dianexus. The reason it's dropping tomorrow is because he's also dropping his site. So check that out. And since I think both of you guys are here, I'm just gonna give out the news. I'll set the time out again because I'm not gonna repeat myself. You guys already know what it is. But we're gonna have Trophy Trout Arms
Oh, cool.
versus P80 Ralph in the match to
Oh, yeah.
get over 9 millimeter versus 22.
9 versus 22. It's not 9 versus Forte.
Nah, I guess it's 22. We'll figure it out. But thank
And
you.
on the grams, oh, sorry, on the grams, I'm FlyingRich_official. A couple of you already sent me messages, so cool. You always get me there.
Everything is down there
Oh,
somewhere.
excellent, man. Got to
So
scroll
check
down.
it out, guys. Yeah. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, guys. Take care. Rich. Rich.
Yeah,
Shoot it with your hands.
I gotta